Welcome to You Can Understand Shakespeare, because you can. And that's what this is all about. Here in this series, I'm not here to give you analysis or background details to be some type of resource like that. Rather, I'm going to be taking you line by line, word by word, through the original text of Shakespeare to help prove to you that you can understand him. You just need help overcoming the three main obstacles to understanding him. It's the three P's: performance, poetry, and prior knowledge. Look, this is supposed to be read by actors, people that know what they're saying. A lot of times we get hung up because it's words on a page. But when you have someone who knows how to speak it, it makes a lot more sense. And lucky for you, I am a professional actor. So, this is exactly the kind of thing that I love. It's also poetry. That's the second P. Yes, Shakespeare is not speaking how we do normally. He's not speaking how I'm talking right now in what's known as prose, or just normal dialectic speech. Rather, he's using poetic devices. But here's the good thing. Poetry is just our words. It's exactly the language that we already speak. So we don't need to be afraid of it. We just need to know, what is he doing? Is it some big extended metaphor? Once you catch on to these things, you start seeing them more and more often, and Shakespeare starts opening up. In fact, that's one of the first things that helped me understand Shakespeare was, there's lots of just extended similes and metaphors. Last of all, and this is one of the biggest hang-ups, is prior knowledge. As you approach Shakespeare, you need to know that he is going to know more than you. It's just a fact. He's one of the best for a reason. But if you have a good edition with lots of footnotes, like this one here, I use the Norton Shakespeare, which I absolutely love, or there's many other great editions. And if you listen to me, I am a former English teacher, then we can understand it no problem, because we're oftentimes just missing one small thing. So come along, we're going to hop into the Tempest in this series to help you understand it fully. Now, before we begin, I do want to say, this is not meant to do your homework for you. This is a resource to help you understand, so then you can go and do the work. All right? Now, on top of that, this isn't something that's going to require lots of background knowledge and lots of stuff about Shakespeare or the various inspirations or backstory. Rather, I like to approach this as if you were watching the play for the first time or pulled it off the shelf and know nothing else about it. Everything we're going to learn is coming from the text itself. So there's no pre-session, there's no background, none of that. That's all well and good, and is a very valid way of interpreting literature. But for me, let's just get into the text. Now, the first thing you're going to see when you open the Tempest is the dramatis personae, the list of characters. Keep a bookmark there, because it's going to tell you who someone is. So when they show up, if we see an actor walk on stage, and how they're acting and how they're speaking, it helps us sort of understand. But here, all we have are names. So the little blurb that it gives us, like Prospero, the right Duke of Milan, that helps us understand as we get into the text. So let's open this up with Act 1, Scene 1 of The Tempest, one of Shakespeare's latest plays and most famous. So the scene is on an uninhabited island. So a tempestuous noise of thunder and lightning is heard. So there's the titular Tempest. Right off the bat, this tempest, which is a storm, is blowing, and we enters a ship's master and a bosun. Now, it appears rather that the scene isn't on the island yet, but on a ship near the island. So the master is the person who runs the ship, and he says, "Bosun," which is a position on a ship. He says, "Master, here, master, what cheer?" Meaning, what's your cheer, what's your goodwill? The master says, "Good, speak to the mariners." Now, good is sort of a shortening of goodman, which is an expression that we might say like sir. When you're referring to someone who's like a commoner, or by their profession, you would call them like goodman. We sort of lost that, I think, as characterized the most by maybe like the Puritans. If you ever read The Crucible, it's like, it's Goody Proctor, it's Goodman Brown, these types of things. So, he says, "Good, speak to the mariners." And that TH apostrophe is just a shortening of the. When you look at it on the page, it might scare you, because you go, Shakespeare! You say it out loud, it's just the. Mariners is sailors, so speak to the sailors. "Fall to it yearly." To it is just to it. You didn't think about it at all when I said it out loud. It's only when you look at it that you got scared. Don't be scared. It's supposed to be spoken aloud. Yearly means promptly, or we run ourselves aground. So they're afraid of their ship running aground. If it runs aground, they sink. It's not good. He says, bestir, and you think of bestir, something stir means get to action, so it means get about it. And the master exits, at which point enters the mariners, the sailors. And the bosun takes this order. He says, "Hi, my hearts," and it's hearties. Think of like classic pirates. Yo ho, me hearties. So, "Hi, me hearts. Cheerily, cheerily, my hearts. Yar, yar." And this is just kind of get to it, go about, oh, come on, put your back into it. It's just calls. Now, if we're reading this here, we're like, it's just nonsense. Shakespeare doesn't make any sense. Well, imagine sailors are like pulling ropes and lifting stuff and climbing the mast. Okay, he's like, "Arr, hey!" Taking the topsail, he tells him to do that. Now that's a command. The bosun is gonna be shouting out a number of commands to all the other sailors, and we can get into each and every one of them. This is just to reduce the surface area of the sail to lessen the force of the wind. All right, so Shakespeare's using all these real sailing terms. He says tend, which means attend. Tend to the master's whistle, to what he has commanded us to do. You think if you whistle to a dog, it tells it to do something. So attend to what the master has told us to do. And then he addresses the storm. A lot of time in Shakespeare, characters will address non-personified entities. So if you address nighttime, or if you address the moon, or if you address the storm. So he says, blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough. So he says the storm can blow and blow and blow and blow, and it does not matter so long as there's room enough, room between the boat and the rocks. So storm, blow away so long as we don't run aground. That's what they're nervous about. At which point, enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Ferdinand, Gonzalo, and others. It's a lot of people. Let's go back to that character list really quickly. Antonio, we hear, is Prospero's brother. He is the usurping Duke of Milan. So an usurper is someone who has taken someone else's ruling position. So right off the bat, we already have a little bit of plot details. We saw earlier that Prospero, the first character listed, is the right Duke of Milan. And Antonio is his brother who has taken his kingship. Think of the Lion King. Scar usurps Mufasa, wrongly takes his throne. So Antonio is there. He's also there with Alonso. Alonso is the king of Naples. So we have two rulers here, two rulers of Italian city-states. In addition, there's also Sebastian, Alonso's brother, so kind of like a member of the royal family. There's Ferdinand, Alonso's son, so he'd be the prince. And then there is Gonzalo, who is an honest old counselor. A counselor would be a member of the court who gives advice and persuades the king. And we're told that he's honest and old. Okay, so he seems to be a good man. At the very least, just by their descriptions, we think Antonio as usurper is probably bad. Although there could be a good reason to get rid of a bad king. We don't really know yet, according to the text. So here's who walks onto the ship's deck. And Alonso, the king of Naples, says, "Good bosun, have care. Where's the master?" And then he says to all the mariners, "Play the men," which means like act like men, go about, be strong, be brave, these types of things. He shows up, wants to know, hey, where's your boss at? And then tells the sailors to act like men, already doing their job. The bosun says, "I pray now, keep below." I pray now means I'm asking you, please. Keep below, go below deck, back to your rooms, all right? Don't be out here. Now that would keep them safe, but we're also going to see it's because they're getting in the way. Antonio is the usurping duke. He says, "Where is the master, bosun?" So they want to talk to the boss. We don't exactly know why yet. The bosun says, "Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm." So, do you not hear him? Maybe he's shouting out somewhere else. Can you not hear him? You mar our labor. To mar means to disfigure. If you're marring our labor, the thing that we are working at, we're trying to do, you're getting in the way of it. So he says, keep your cabins, go back to your rooms. You do assist the storm. The storm is trying to run them aground and crash them. And hey, royal people, you're helping the storm because you're getting in our way. No real way to talk to royalty, but it's a matter of life or death. And we're going to see that that's what the bosun thinks. And Gonzalo says, "Nay, good." And there's Goodman again. "Be patient." And the bosun says, "When the sea is." So that "be patient" lets us know that the bosun is agitated. All right, he's trying to do his job, and they're just getting in the way. He's like, "Hey, patience, patience, patience," right? The bosun says, "I'll be patient when the sea is." Hence, meaning like, go forth immediately. "What cares these roarers for the name of king?" So here's an interesting little idea. The wind, the sea, these roaring elements, what do they care if you're a king? You want me to be patient. You want me to respect your station as nobility. Nature does not respect you as a king. And so I'm trying to save your life. You're getting in the way. It's an interesting idea about where is true power. What are these man-made offices that we hold? It's going to be all the more interesting when we see that all of this control of nature is actually the work of Prospero, the duke who has been kicked out of his position and is now a type of wizard. So it's very interesting examination of power and respect of royalty and station. But the bosun says, like, the storm doesn't respect that you're king, so I need you to get out of here. To cabin, silence. So he's ordering, get out of here, be quiet, trouble us not. Gonzalo says, good, again, there's Goodman, yet remember whom thou hast aboard. Remember, you're talking to kings and dukes. And the bosun says, none that I more love than myself. There's duty to the king, but he's like, I love myself. I want to save my own hide, right? So if you're getting in the way of that, there's a problem. You are a counselor. So you're someone who gives advice that persuades. If you can command these elements, the water, the air, to silence and work the peace of the present, if you can calm this storm, we will not hand a rope more. We won't handle any more ropes. We'll stop our work. We'll point you to the master, exactly what you want. All right? Hey, counselor who can persuade kings, can you persuade the storm? No. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour. Mischance is something that happens, but it's miss. It's like a miss, or it's misfortune. So, if you can't calm the storm, go back to your room, thank God that you've lived so long, and prepare yourself to die. If it's so hap. It may not happen. Hap, short for happening. If this hour should come to mischance, so be it. And then he says to the mariners, cheerly good hearts, like, hey, take courage, let's do this, let's go. Back to Gonzalo, he says, out of our way, I say. And the bosun and the mariners exit. Gonzalo turns to the royal ensemble, says, I have great comfort from this fellow, which is a bit funny because he's being kind of ignorant or disrespectful of royalty, right? But he's going to tell us why he has great comfort from this fellow. He says, methinks, which just means I think, methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Gonzalo's going to make a lot out of a proverb from Shakespeare's age. Here's that prior knowledge I was talking about. There was a proverb at the time that says, he that was born to be hanged will never be drowned. Okay, so that means if your destiny is for you to be hanged at the noose, then you will not drown. Your death is going to be hanging, not drowning. And that makes sense in a literal term. If you're hanged, you drown. You can't, it's like being like, he who is destined to be shot will not die of suffocation, obviously. When he says that he has no drowning mark on him, there was a belief that people could have birthmarks, where the very position of it is a sort of prediction or prophecy that that person's going to die by drowning. So this man doesn't have the drowning mark, a birthmark that says he'll drown. Rather, his complexion is gallows. He looks like someone who's going to be hanged. And he's kind of rough around the edges, sort of base and criminal-like, so it's very possible he would have ended up being a drowner. And you could also play this guy more like a pirate entirely. I mean, he's got, hey, me hearties, right? That's very piratey. So maybe it's like, hey, this guy is gonna be hanged. And if he's gonna be hanged, he won't drown. And if he doesn't drown, we probably won't drown. And Gonzalo's gonna really run with this for the rest of the scene. So he says, stand fast, good fate. So he addresses now fate. Fate, stand fast, stay to your purpose. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. So make sure that his hanging does happen. Make the rope of his destiny our cable. Our cable is like an anchor cable. An anchor keeps you in position. It holds you fast. Make the rope of his destiny, which is literally the hangman's noose, the thing that he is destined for certain. For our own doth little advantage. Our own anchor cable is not doing anything in this storm. So make his destiny to be hanged, and therefore not drowned, the thing that will secure our fortune. Lots going on there. Little complicated. This is one of those things where it's like Shakespeare really goes a mile with not just the prior knowledge if you need to know this proverb, but you also need to kind of get the poetic device. Now he's addressing fate, and he's equivocating, there's our literal anchor, which not doing anything, but then there's this proverbial anchor, which is the rope that he's being hanged on that I haven't super mentioned explicitly. It can be a little complicated. That's why you should always have good footnotes. So he says, if he, there the bosun, be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable. So if he isn't born to be hanged and therefore could drown, then we are in trouble. And they all leave, and the bosun re-enters. Down with the topmast, yare, lower, lower. So he's calling out more things to do to counter the storm. Bring her to try with main course. So he's bringing the ship close to the wind, sailing only with the mainsail. Shall we give o'er and drown? That means should we give up and just drown? Have you a mind to sink? So he's calling at these people. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped down one. A plague upon this howling, because there was a cry within. And within means within the boat. Sorry, I skipped down just a line or two. So people are crying within. It's probably the royalty who are now scared to die. He goes, a plague upon this. They are louder than the weather. Because they're in the middle of a storm. It's pretty loud. Their wailing is louder than the weather, or our office. Our office is our job as the bosun. And he is loud because he is shouting. So he's like, they are so loud that we can't hear. Sebastian, Antonio, and Gonzalo re-enter. Now notice Alonso and Ferdinand do not re-enter. Okay, so he says, yet again you are out here. What do you here? Like, what are you doing here? Shall we give o'er and drown? Shall we give up and drown? Have you a mind to sink? Have you a mind is this what you want? Do you want to sink? And Sebastian says, a pox, like I think chicken pox, like an illness. A pox of your throat. So let may your throat be poxed. You bawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog. So he is pretty upset with how the bosun is treating the royal family, which is kind of, he's being rude, but like he's trying to save their lives. The bosun says, work you then. You do the work. Antonio, keep in mind, is the usurping Duke of Milan. He says, hang, cur. And cur is like a dog, I believe. I'd have to double check that. All right. He says, hang, because hang, you whoreson, insolent noisemaker. So they're really insulting him. And now it could be sort of playing a little bit on Gonzalo's whole thing of hang, and then therefore you don't drown. But it's also like hang is, he's mad at him. He's like, I hope you die. It's like the common expression of like, oh, go to hell, right? We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art. So we're not scared. You're scared to the ship guy that's trying to stop them from being drowned. Gonzalo's going to return to his old theme. I'll warrant him from drowning, meaning I'll guarantee him against drowning. Though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, even if the ship was only as strong as like a peanut shell, which is pretty weak, and as leaky as an unstanched wench, which is as leaky, it's prone to releasing liquid as an unstanched, meaning a freely menstruating wench, woman. So like a woman that's constantly menstruating, even if the ship was that leaky. Odd analogy, Gonzalo. But this case is like if the ship was frail and leaky, I bet this guy's not going to drown. Why? Because he'll probably be hanged. Bosun, lay her a hold. Those are more commands to the mariners. Set her 2 courses, which means set the foresail in addition to the mainsail. Off to sea again. Lay her off. They're trying to get away from the rocks, away from the island. The Tempest is moving them towards this island, which if they arrive near it, will run them aground and they'll drown. Enter mariners wet, and they cry out, all lost, to prayers, all lost. This is not a group of men all speaking in unison. These are things that all say. Some are saying, all lost, to prayers, meaning like we have to repent of your sins, we're about to die. So the mariners give up, and they exit. And the bosun says, what? Must our mouths be cold? That means to be cold in the mouth means to be dead, right? If you think of someone, when they die, they're ice cold. So to be cold in the mouth, to die. What? Must our mouths be cold? Gonzalo says the king and prince at prayers. That's why Alonso and Ferdinand did not come back out. They are now praying for deliverance, praying for the forgiveness of their sins, these types of things. The king and prince at prayers, let's assist them, for our case is as theirs. We have the same business, we have the same importance, which is we need to pray for the forgiveness of our sins or to be delivered from this. Sebastian says, I'm out of patience. This guy who, in the midst of a storm, is more upset with being disrespected. He's out of patience. Antonio says, we are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. Merely means utterly. So Antonio says, these drunkards, these sailors who have been trying to save their lives, he's like, it's their fault we're going to die. They've cheated us. So we can tell that of all of these people, Antonio and Sebastian seem to kind of be the worst people. He said, this wide-chopped rascal, which means large-mouthed rascal, would thou mightst lie drowning in the washing of 10 tides. That's a curse. Would thou means I would that it were. I would that you were, thou means you, mightst lie drowning the washing of 10 tides. So pirates would be hanged at low tide, and then the tide would rise up 3 times. So it says, I want you to be hanged down and let 10 tides wash over you. So you having the most severe punishment possible. Because he blames the bosun, who has spent this entire scene trying to save their lives. He's like, you have done me wrong. You have killed me because you're so bad at your job and you're a drunkard and you're loudmouth. They're just mad at being disrespected. They were the ones getting in the way. Gonzalo says, he'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at widest to glut him. So though every drop of water swear against it, every drop of water seems like it's trying to glut him. It's trying to open its mouth and swallow him. He's personifying water. Glut is where we get gluttony, which means like to consume a lot, right? He'll be hanged yet. He's not going to drown, because if you're hanged, you don't drown. He's still at this proverb. So there's a confused noise within, and the mariners are within. They're within the ship deck, saying, mercy on us. They're praying for mercy. We split, meaning the ship has split open. Now they're going to sink. Farewell, my wife and children. Farewell, brother. We split. And the bosun is going to exit. So, keep in mind that as Antonio is saying that we've been cheated, and he says, this white-chapped rascal, wouldst thou might lie drowning the washing of 10 tides, and Gonzalo's like, no, he's going to be hanged. He's not going to drown. The bosun was there to hear that. He leaves. Antonio says, let's all sink with the king. So they're going to go join Alonso. Sebastian, let's take leave of him. And they leave. So Sebastian and Antonio exit, leaving Gonzalo by himself. And he has just one final thought. He says, now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground. He would trade thousands and thousands of furlongs, unit measurement of sea, just for 1 acre of barren ground. So not just ground that doesn't grow anything. And he describes it, long heath, brown furze, anything. Those are both shrubs that grow on bad soil. So it's like, I don't even want, to want land was a very common thing. People throughout all of history have wanted land. But especially, I want fertile land that grows something good. He goes, no, I'll take even the most barren, useless land in exchange for thousands and thousands of miles of sea. He says, the wills above be done. Those are may providence, destiny, gods, God, whatever is above, let that will be done. But I would fain, which means gladly, die a dry death. He'd much rather be on dry land than die here at sea. And he exits as well. So there is the titular Tempest. It is split apart their ship. All these people. Some of them, we don't know really what Ferdinand is like. He hasn't done anything. Gonzalo reminds me a little bit of Polonius as a royal advisor. A little silly, but honest. More honest than Polonius, it seems. Yeah, all these people, it seems like they're just going to die that right off the bat. They've been run aground, and that's that. But I guess we'll have to find out what's really what in Act 1, Scene 2 of The Tempest. So thanks for joining, and we'll talk again next time.